Like, let me try to fix this joint.
1 2 1 2. We are back. GYGB War Report Show. I'm your co-host, Roberto Flag, and my man Coltrane out in Philly. What is popping? Yo, you know how we have those little pockets where there's not much going on, and I should equate it to like the calm before the storm and during like hurricane season, or when when we see a hurricane that's coming. But man, this show today, as I'm looking through what we got to talk about today, when you think about like boxing cards, you have undercards, and the undercards are like, yeah, pretty good, but the main event is what you're really waiting for. But going through this list right here, man, every single topic we're going to try to get through in a decent amount of time is a main event on its own, man. I mean, we got so much to talk about. But look, off rip, everybody wants to talk about, and we're going to talk about it at the end of the show. Canelo Alvarez signs a massive, I want to say record-breaking, but let's just say a historic deal with DAZN that literally just showed up in the United States last month with this Anthony Joshua fight, and they had a couple other fights. But man, this Canelo Alvarez signing, it just sent shockwaves not only through the boxing world, but through sports in general. ESPN, Fox Sports, it was on all the websites. It's huge news. We're gonna get to that, but man, trained. First, I mean, we got to start with this because this has also been like the biggest news, and there's other topics we're gonna get to following this. But man, really kind of a recap. We did have a fight this past Saturday that we're still talking about, but obviously because of this news, today and yesterday, it's starting to kind of overshadow it a little bit. But man, Terrence Crawford, Jose Benavidez Jr. Obviously, the fight itself, was entertaining, but I think the news coming out of that fight was the ratings that is really like blowing people away with this 2.4 million views, man. So first, give me your thoughts as far as the fight itself, and then this news as far as these huge. I think the second biggest rating of the ESPN top rank, merger from last year, and the number one being obviously Pacquiao Horn. So, like, what's your take?
I mean, I think Crawford lived up to what he is, pretty much what he's been advertised to be. It's crazy because we always talk about he really hasn't had that quote unquote fight to bring the best out of him. You know what I'm saying? Like, most of the time, the guys he fought, he's just been so far superior, better than them. And, he can only fight who he's supposed to fight. Back when he was a junior welterweight at 140 pounds, Victor Postol was supposed to be this quote unquote, roadblock. It's funny how hindsight is always 20/20 because leading up to that fight, I remember reading the blogs and people saying that, his length and his height and, Crawford didn't beat anybody. And then Crawford ended up making easy work out of him. And those people, the detractors out there, and that's how detractors normally do, they become oblivious. Not oblivious. They go into hiding, I should say. They go into hiding and you don't hear from them because most of the time detractors only come around when their point is proven right, rather than just saying like, damn, this guy can fight. Like, let me give props where props is due. And you take the Benitez fight, where this was a fight where a lot of people said, this would probably be Crawford's toughest fight. And it turned out to be that it was. And some of it was due to Benitez's skills, and the other had to do with he's a 6'2" long, rangy fighter. And Crawford, as you can see, is maybe 5'7". He's a little guy. He's not a real big guy. He's a smaller guy. And you saw that on Saturday night. He was way smaller than Benitez. And what you got was a special treat because boxing what the beautiful thing about boxing, and I told you guys this in a thread, why I love me personally, why it's my favorite sport of any sport, because it's the only sport where a little guy can beat up a big guy, but he has to use his brain to do so. You have to strategically, systematically break your opponent down, and everything that was defined and taught to us about boxing was displayed on Saturday night. How to use a jab, how to use lateral movement, how to use feints, you know, how to just the real estate away from a fighter. Like everything was. Oh, my bad. How do I get out of this joint?
It's all good, fans. We're live here.
I'm trying to, yeah, this is my first time doing this on my phone, so I'm just hold up. Bear with me. Bear with me. I'm almost
back. All good. I mean, no, I definitely see your point, man. I mean, I think one of the things that was happening as the fight ended, well, really what transpired, through all the different forums and all the different places where fans talk boxing. The fact that Crawford did get hit in this fight, and he's had a history.
Right, I'm back.
Okay, word. Yeah, I mean, I think he's had a history in some of his fights where he, the dog kind of comes out of him, and he'll stay in the pocket sometimes longer than he really needs to. We saw a bit of that on Saturday night, but I think you were getting to the point too, where we saw the different facets of his game as it relates to really knowing how to figure a fighter out. So I'll let you finish that one.
That's what I was saying. Like we always talk about, and Floyd has always stated this. He said a lot of fighters have an A-B plan, but they don't have a C-D-E-F-G plan. And Andre Ward alluded to this on a telecast. He said, he didn't say who, but he just said after the 6th round, you're going to see the tides change in this fight. But we all kind of knew who he was talking about. And you saw the difference. You saw, Ward, like you said, not sitting in the pocket as long, using his feet, using his footwork, because he's the better fighter. He's got the better footwork, better punch place. We always talk about punch placement on our show. And I think that you got to display it. Like everything that we talk about boxing was displayed on Saturday night. And his punch placement, so many times you'll see fighters head hunt. We just talked about Triple G and Canelo. He didn't go to the body enough. Had he invested in going to the body, that we might have had different results on Saturday night. I mean, a few Saturday nights ago, where you get a guy like Crawford who makes his living going downstairs and working his way upstairs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's really how he got the knockout on Saturday night, because great uppercut, don't get me wrong, but he was a worn-out fighter. He was fatigued. He was done. After the 7th, 8th round, punches was flat. Crawford was able to take a little bit more risk going inside because it was nothing. It was nothing there. And he broke him down. And the thing that was impressive for me is that his personality really sometimes don't match the way that he fight, because, listen, he's a high-headed guy. We are outside the ring. You saw how he was weigh-ins and, the car mechanics and all this other stuff. Right. But in the ring, to his credit, how many times we see fighters get lured into stupid stuff? I mean, he got hit, but he didn't get hit with – he got hit with a good body shot. Got hit with a vicious body shot that he ate really well, which is a tribute to his conditioning and how well he trains.
Strong, man.
You know what I mean? You never really see him out on his feet hurt.
Right.
He's so well conditioned that when he gets hit like that, Like you see a lot of look. Floyd got rocked a few times in his career. Chop Chop Corley, Shane Mosley.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah,
but because the work ethic is so on point, the dividends pay off for you in situations like that.
Right.
So this situation like you had on Saturday night where he got hit, but it wasn't like he got hit with a barrage of punches. It was like one hit here, one hit there.
Right. Yeah.
But for the most part, he adjusted and broke his opponent down where he could have easily coasted in that fight and just got, look, you saw the scorecards. They didn't have it nowhere near close as most people had it at that point in time. I don't think one card had him up 5 rounds, I think.
Yeah.
There's something I forget, but maybe it was like, I think they just had him up 5 rounds. But anyway, most of the other ones was a shutout. So he didn't even really need to do nothing.
Yeah.
So the difference with this guy, and Roberto, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Sugar Ray Leonard. That's the only guy.
That's who I could. That somebody I forgot who it was. They compared him to Aaron Pryor, and I'm like,
I would go more Ray Leonard.
That. Like, I think the reason I say Leonard is because he doesn't fight exactly like him, but there's things. All right, like there's things that Ray Leonard did that. When you call like a fighter, that has the complete package, you look at the defense, the offense, the mobility, the amateur pedigree, and the power, and just like like stylistically, yeah, the combination punches and things and such. But I think with Crawford, the reason he reminds me a lot of Ray Leonard is because Ray Leonard, we found out after that the dude was really tough. He had all the accolades and everything, but we found out how tough he really was when it was needed. And that's the thing with Crawford. I think with him, he has everything, man. He has the ring IQ. And even Benavidez was saying, he's like, yo, this dude, he was calling him like a tricky mother effort, like he.
Oh yeah, he was very honest.
Yeah, he was really honest about it.
A lot of time when the fight stopped like that, they stopped it too prematurely. But see, Benitez, to his credit, was really knocked out a few rounds prior. Like he was mentally exhausted.
Those body shots, man. I mean, he's saying his leg and everything, but the thing is, he had 2 fights prior. You know what I mean? So it's like,
he gotta make. You know how that go.
Yeah. But
what I was going to say real quick about the Ray Leonard thing was, Ray Leonard, when he talked about his previous fights, and he talked about he could have been, a safety first more fighter, but he just like something unleashed in him when he got hit.
And that's how Crawford is, man.
That's how Crawford is.
That's how. I mean, look. I mean,
Crawford's so crazy. I don't want people to think I'm saying that he's better than Sugar Ray Leonard or anything like that.
No.
Crawford is a little bit more disciplined than Sugar Ray Leonard is.
Yeah, it's he's showing, and I thought this, man. I mean, he's gonna be a strong welterweight, man. But now the story becomes what's next, just like everything else, But I think the big story coming out of this fight, and we talked about it before we got on the air, the 2.4 million views for this fight, which is the second highest rating for the ESPN Top Rank merger, man. I mean, that did like 4 point something million. This did 2.4 million, which is just insane, man. And to the point, man, that following Monday, I had, the friends of mine, the casuals, I see that they were like, hey, man, who's this kid from Nebraska, man? And, I think at this point, when you're getting that kind of notoriety, it's the early stages of you slowly becoming that household name that people align with when they see ESPN, whether you're someone who still watches SportsCenter, whether you're somebody who even has the ESPN ticker or the Bleacher Report or any of those headlines pop up on your phone that say Terrence Crawford, such and such. So he's gaining a lot of notoriety, man, and he's gaining a lot of popularity, which leads me to the next topic, which is the obvious elephant in the room. Errol Spence Jr. I mean, look, this is the fight we all want to see.
Right, no
We
doubt.
don't know if Sean Porter is gonna that's even gonna be a reality in the immediate. Keith Thurman, there's people within the industry saying that, I mean, it's not a guarantee, obviously, that Thurman, like, he could be out of here, man. Like, you know, I mean, he's going on 2 years, and the thing is, it's like you're out 2 years, and you're looking at Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford as like your fights in the next two, calendar year or year and change. So, but look, all of us right now, the fight that everybody's calling for is Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. Are there obvious hurdles? Yes, man. Especially now with these deals, Fox, Showtime have their deals with the PBC, ESPN, or will Terrence Crawford re-up with Top Rank, and ESPN is going to be his flagship network until I think like 2025. But look, man, let's keep it 100, man. It's not like these guys have opponents that are knocking at their doors at this point, man. And the obvious, again, there's the whole situation with the networks. But I will say this, and I'll pass it to you, man. We heard this whole deal with the PBC and Fox, and automatically, a light went off in my head. And we look at somebody like Errol Spence and the Charlos, who we've been talking about, some of the most underdeveloped fighters in boxing today at 28 years old. This is a point where, Errol Spence, I'll just say, because to the point of Terrence Crawford, they gotta take him off of Showtime and keep him on Fox and put him on Fox, because there's no way Showtime is going to be able to combat that, man. They can't, but Fox could. So give me your take on that, man, as far as Errol Spence Jr. is concerned. And give me and also remind the people as far as what he was talking about at the podium a few weeks ago, as far as ESPN and Terrence Crawford's concerned.
Who you talking about, Crawford or
No, I'm
Thurman?
saying no. Well, did you see the interview with when Errol Spence was up on the podium at the was it the Danny and Porter fight, when he was talking about, he was talking about, I mean, okay, well, the whole story of that night was his condition that night, but he was up there. I mean, and again, maybe, we have to take it for what it was as far as like his condition that night. But as far as, him going off saying like, who's going to watch ESPN and things as such. So it's he kind of put his foot in his mouth now, because he's not doing the kind of ratings that Terrence Crawford's doing. So does he need to go to Fox at this point?
Yeah, I think that the part there, remember I was telling you guys this earlier, is that unfortunately a lot of these guys don't understand the business of, I'm talking about the guys that's in it. I'm talking about fans. Like,
right.
Like guys like Errol Spence, he's just a fighter, right? For the most part. Where he just by making a statement like that about ESPN alone, the proper statement would have been, I don't care where the fight is taking place. Well, he should care, because business-wise, he should care. But, if the fight's on ESPN, which is the worldwide leader in sports, and like you said, all revenues, every sport, I don't care what sport you follow, the path is through ESPN. Like, fighters, what do you do when you see a fighter on First Take? Even though we don't live by those shows, what's the first thing we do when we see a fighter on one of those shows?
Oh, well, man, at that point, man, like there's you're in front of like potentially 100 million people. Well, about like 80 million people, man. Well, and then on the internet, that's just because we forget like those clips are on YouTube and in front of like millions of people.
Right, and that's what I was saying. Like when we see a Crawford or Ward, when Ward was on there, we'll text each other like, "Yo, Ward
Yeah,
or Crawford is
or
on
it's
first
on,
take."
right.
Like,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
big
yeah.
deal. It's not like Odell Beckham or Cam Newton being on there. I mean, that's normal.
Right, right,
I
right.
think I think that what people got to understand is, unless you're Canelo Alvarez, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, which are very far in between. These are unique individuals that can go on paper. Like Earl Spence, who are we selling his pay per view to? Like even Crawford. Like much as we love Crawford and he did the rate. Like I think that them being on regular TV helps their notoriety out.
Right, right. Exactly. And I think that's why the Fox deal is huge, man. That's huge for them.
When we first got introduced to this sport, now we telling on our age a little bit,
Yeah, right,
Roberto,
right.
but
Hey, yo, man, we
great fights.
gotta be prideful about our age, man, because
Listen, it is what it is. Like,
you don't look our age, man. You know,
right? Listen, I'm filling out college. That's what took me so long. I was filling out some college applications for my daughter. So, just to kind of put
yeah,
some
right.
context in. Anyway, when you go back to when we came up, we saw the Sugar Ray Leonards, the Pernell Whitakers, Aaron. These dudes was on Channel 6, ABC,
ABC, CBS, all that. Yeah,
CBS, USA.
yeah. Tuesday night fights. That's
Remember
why I
that?
saw Roy Jones, man.
Tuesday night fights. I mean, no, seriously, this is how you develop fighters back then. Now, then somewhere in between the 90s and obviously to where we are now, that became a thing of the past. Like it all became about premium networks and then getting a pay-per-view date.
Yeah, yeah. Into the 90s. I mean, yeah, it was really delegated to HBO and Showtime, and then pay-per-view really hit hard in the 90s, and then yeah, man, and even now with HBO gone, it's kind of nuts because we've been so just our parents were used to seeing like Roberto Duran and Tommy Hearns and Ray Leonard, all these guys like you said on network TV. We're from the era where we saw all those guys on HBO. I mean, we're the HBO generation, man. So, I mean, and we're gonna get into the whole thing with Canelo and the DAZN and stuff like that. But
yeah.
it's you know what I mean? Like I think it's just it's a crazy time for starters. I mean, the fact that
let's get into that Canelo situation because that's a perfect segue.
Yeah. I mean, we
discussion
that we have. Well, did you wanted to talk about Pacquiao Broner first? I mean, that's the thing. It's like, that's too, man.
Let's say that for the end because it's a lot I want to say about that.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Well, we actually got there's more to talk about with that. But yeah, I mean, look, man. I think this news shocked everybody as far as the long term. Not so much of the fight that's coming up in December, but I mean, you've seen it. We're not breaking this news, but all of you guys have seen it everywhere, all over the boxing media, all over the sports media. Canelo Alvarez with this historic $365 million deal, which, if you break it down, is $33 million guaranteed. A fight for 11 fights, which is going to equal around 5 years, give or take. But wow, man, this is huge in the sense of and not that I'm poking at Train here, but Train as of yesterday didn't even really know what DAZN was. Like, he was asking about it, but like this is why it's been kind of a shock to the system for everybody because most even sports fans don't know about DAZN. They do have Anthony Joshua. But them landing Canelo Alvarez, man, is a monumental deal in relation to where we talk about where the sport is. Not only the sport, but where media is
streaming. Let's just listen real quick, Roberto. Like 2 shows ago, you and I talked about streaming services. We said when our kids get older, they're gonna be like, remember there used to be this thing called TV that had commercials and
right.
listen.
Cable.
If you're the guy, listen. If you're the guy that's so stuck in your old ways and you don't want streaming, then guess who you are? Guess what guy you are? You the guy that still get mail delivered to your house. You're the guy that don't use email. So you're waiting for stuff to come, and everybody else got their stuff instantaneously. You know you're gonna be at the post office in line, and no disrespect to senior citizens, because we'll all be there one day. Anybody that ever, I hate going to the post office. Like I hate it, like with a passion. Why do you think so many like companies, like you run like an online business or you order something, you got to take it back? Why do you think they give you electronic posties to mail back return labels? Because they know that process is so outdated going into a post office. That's who you are going to be with the people that don't want. Because I talk to people like this all the time. Oh, I don't want, like, even me. I was kind of one of those people. And then when people was talking about all these shows, I'm like, where do you guys watch these shows at? They're like, oh, like on Netflix, on Hulu, on these different streaming services. Disney, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Disney about to flip the game complete. Before this Canelo thing even came out, Disney, as we know, on ESPN.
Yep.
As we know, ESPN got rights to all 4 sports pretty much. They are saying that they're going to not only have streaming, but they're going to have live sporting events. Once you got live sporting events, game over. So circling back to this Canelo thing, which is pretty much a streaming service. What is it, $9.99 a month in the USA?
Yep.
So for $10 a month, and listen, Roberto, I don't know about you, but for me, I would pay $20 a month if I know I can get boxing every month on it.
Yeah, man. I mean, or this is what I told people today. I go, look, the fact that HBO is done with the boxing.
Maybe they knew.
Yeah. And outside of Game of Thrones, and I know you're a GOT head, that's coming to an end, I believe, right? Or are they going to do
It's over. Listen, it's ways around that too. You can watch that out there in cyber world. You don't even need HBO. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're not promoting, but I'm just saying.
I guess for the boxing fan that subscribed to HBO with just the notion of watching boxing, I mean, look, this DAZN app is $5 cheaper and has about 80% of the stock of guys that you were watching on HBO anyway. So the thing with them landing Canelo, I mean, look, this is one of the big deals too, as it relates to Canelo going.
Tupac on death row.
Yeah, they're gonna do the who are they gonna do the hit me up video?
California love. He'll be in the UK like with a cup of tea and some crimpets.
Yo, so
shout out
so the whole thing of it is, it was really a shock to a lot of us that he got such a huge deal. I mean, and not to say he doesn't deserve it. I mean, any fighter, man, that can make that kind of bread, man, like we salute you. He's earned it. He fought Triple G twice. And he's fought quality guys, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we've nitpicked, guys he should have fought at certain times, but I mean, it is what it is. The thing now, though, and when they announced the deal, I tried to, connect the dots as far as where everybody was at, meaning the fighters. And lo and behold, man, if Danny Jacobs and Demetrius Andrade, who fights this weekend on DAZN, he's fighting for the now vacant WBO title, being Billy Joe Saunders, he got banned with the substance. DAZN by December could potentially have all the middleweight champions under their umbrella, man. And I thought about it, I'm like, yo, this might have been a chess move after all on Canelo and Golden Boy's end. Because look, this is what people got to remember. This acquisition is not just Canelo, it's Golden Boy. And you better believe Oscar used Canelo as a leverage piece. And, you know, you're going to see David Lemieux, Jaime Munguia, Jorge Linares on DAZN. They have, I think I read a 10-fight per year. Like, they have like a major fight night on the app, and they're paying the licensing fees and they're securing the dates, man. So it's a no-brainer, man. But we already know who the guy that's kind of like lost in the bunch here, and then his name is starts with a J and ends with a Charlo. Because I mean, what do you think of his position at this point, man? I mean, with this deal.
The Charlo, Jamal,
yeah,
Charlo,
because like, you know, that Triple G fight ain't happening. You know, apparently he's gonna go fight this guy Murata in Japan if he fights this weekend on the ESPN Plus app. That's pretty much a done deal for next year, because Triple G's done for the year, but he's gonna go fight this guy Murata in Japan if he wins. So
I thought about something earlier, right? When we brought up Charlo, something we forgot to mention, right? So Eddie Hearn, I don't know if you remember this. It might have been last year, maybe it was early this year. We talked about it in our thread, and he said, "I feel like the Charlo twins should be bigger stars."
Yeah,
said that.
Yeah, he did. He said, yeah. I think that was him.
Yeah, I remember he said it. It was like on a boxing scene. He said, "I feel like the Charlo twins should be bigger stars, and if I was promoting them, they will be a lot bigger." Now, I bring that up to say, because they're not on HBO, because let's face it, this is more like independent situation in relation to United States. Like, they're not a rival with anybody. They're in their own lane, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So if a fight was because I always said that I thought the Charlo twin is the perfect villain, if you will, for Canelo. Like, if the story can be sold properly, it's the ideal fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, Canelo will be like the white knight in shining armor, pretty much, and the Charlo will be like the ultimate villain. You know how they do.
Yeah.
You know, anybody that follows. So maybe just rule it out. Think here when he's, these behind it when they say. So when he said this, when he signs, now he didn't sign Canelo to all this type of money just because they think he's going to fight the Charlo one day. I think they went in here with the mindset of kind of like a Floyd situation where, okay, if we get 5 to 6 fights out of this deal, we'll make out like crazy off of this. You know what I mean? So basically, we'll have these fights, and hopefully by the time his contract concludes, he'll have a farewell, like, because let's face it, Pacquiao was really Mayweather's. I know he fought Berto after that, but the fight that really sold Showtime was the Pacquiao fight.
Right.
And I know they did the merge commentary and all that, but the reason why, that was the main reason why they gave Floyd all that money, is because they knew that they was going to land the golden goose egg, which was the Pacquiao fight. So I think that they're going into this like, we're going to put him in with these guys, but in the process, we're hoping that we can build somebody, and there may be somebody from over there that we may be missing. We can't rule out.
Yep.
As well.
And yo, let me tell you something, man. Like, it's not like Al Heyman doesn't have fighters that fight on DAZN. Danny Jacobs and Amir Khan are advised by Al Heyman. So
there you go.
The thing is, Charlo, he has to know, at least based on their middleweight situation, man, like, he's in no man's land. He's in a ghost town. So I don't know what the deal is relates to his contract with the PBC, but I think it's going to be a deal where either number one, they're going to have to do like a trade off or something, or work out a deal where he goes and because look, man, if he wants that Canelo fight at least in the next couple of years, he's going to have to.
He got to fight Daniel
go
Jacobs.
over to the zone, man. Like that's just what it is.
He
man.
got to fight Daniel Jacobs. The Daniel Jacobs is the route to get to Canelo.
Right, but the problem is though, and this is we can't rule out or this all right. This is what I think is probably more of a reality, man. Like because when I look at when I was trying to map out Canelo's like next like 3-4 years, man. I mean, look, we got David Lemieux. I mean, I'm gonna just throw names out there before he would even consider fighting Charlo. David Lemieux. Demetrius Andrade, Danny Jacobs, Jaime Munguia when he becomes a middweight.
Triple G.
Triple G again. I mean, that's like 5 guys already. You know, now
Earl Spence.
I mean, you know, but I think
the valuable options.
Yeah, but I think the whole deal with where Charlo is in a really tough position is that he's basically okay. Like you look at the AJ and Wilder situation, right? That
right.
makes sense for DAZN and Showtime to say, you know what? Let's do a one-off pay-per-view, you know, or like it's on DAZN, but you can buy it on like you know, another pay-per-view. Let me see, that'll be tough too, because if DAZN is showing it on their platform, then it's like, what's the point? Even though I think at that point they would do a pay-per-view, because I think Eddie Hearn did say there would be pay-per-view situations. So that's a perfect example. But the thing with Charlo, man, is like you don't have a lot of like, I should say like quote unquote scalps to say like, yo, I've done this, and this. Let alone, man, like you don't even have a belt. Like you bring nothing to the table right now. And that's why I think Jacobs and Andrade are more likely to land a fight with him. Obviously, now being under the same platform, he can unify the entire division, you know, in under one umbrella. And then you again, like Triple G can come in a year and scoop right in and say, hey, like, I don't know, man. Like I think because he's not signing any long-term deals, man. So I don't know, man. Like I think it's gonna be tough for Charlo to land fights.
You know what's funny? While you were sitting there talking, I was just going in my head thinking about Premier Boxing Network. I mean, Premier Boxing Champions, like the whole umbrella, like all Al Heyman fighters. And I'm like, it's almost like it's like a tech startup company, like in Silicon Valley somewhere, where you got all these techs, basically, right? Nobody really like Golden Boy, for instance, got Canelo. That's pretty much it. Like far as like their standout guy. Where Premier Network, Premier Champions, keep saying network, Premier Champions. It's just it's like a sum of parts, basically. You got all these people. You got Danny Garcia, you got Keith Thurman, you got Earl Spence, you got two of them Charlo twins. And this is and I'm missing a whole bunch of other people, but you got all these guys where nobody really separated themselves from the pack.
Right.
You know, you just got a bunch of guys. It's almost like I said, it's almost like a startup company, you know, a .com type company where you got all these techs, all these guys that do the same thing pretty much. Kind of at the same level notoriety wise. And then you get a guy like Broner, right? Just this. We're gonna get in that in a second. Where Broner, but this is the crazy part about this. Broner gets bigger fights than any of those guys we just named. Right? It's crazy, right?
Yeah, stay tuned.
And I know Rod. Shout out to ROD who's on record. He hates the business part. Yeah. You know, me and Roberto, we get into this bit because you can't talk about boxing.
Yeah, I know.
It just can't be done. It's impossible. So you get a guy like Broner who's under the same umbrella, but Broner knows how to sell a fight and he's good for business. Much as we can't stand him, much as he don't deserve these big fights, that he just keep getting big fights.
Yeah. Yep.
Where the rest of the guys, because the rumor, I don't know. I mean, it's public knowledge. Al Heyman is known for getting guys pretty decent paydays, for not having to take crazy risks, basically.
Right.
So it's like you got all these guys, they're making decent money. Because let's face it, they're 7 figures is once they break it down with taxes, they still walking away with some pretty good money. Most of these guys. So the comfortability factor is there, where in the past, guys was like, man, listen, not only do I want the big payday, I want big fights. Like the demand, and I'll toss it back to you. The point I'm trying to make here is that everybody's happy because they're getting paid. So when Eddie Hearn comes in and say, well, damn, like, y'all dudes should be way more. That's basically he taking a shot at Al Heyman, basically, is what he doing, essentially. Like, he be way more popular than what y'all are. Why aren't y'all as popular? Where most of these fighters, like I said, are like, well, I made this amount. I got a nice house. Most of these guys come from nothing. So they're like, I'm good. Like, until something comes my way. And that's why this deal with Canelo is very pivotal. Like, it's a game-changing situation, because it's going to open eyes up to other guys like, oh, shit, I don't have...
what are they doing over there? Yeah.
Right. Like, I can go here, go get this quick money real quick, fight on this street. Like basically, like, oh, the UK got an open checkbook, basically.
Right. I mean, I'm reading the chats right now. Zoe Knight saying Broner missed the DAZN ship that sailed when he exposed Eddie Hearn's contract offers. That's true too, man.
I forgot about that.
Yo, also too, apparently, I was reading something about, because Tank Davis and Tevin Farmer have been going back and forth. Tevin Farmer is on the zone as well now, and apparently they offered Tank some. I mean, it didn't reach the news as far as like him getting an official offer, but apparently, man, like he was trying to entertain like fighting on the zone against Farmer, and Floyd said, "Pump the brakes." So I mean, look, man. I mean, and to your point, man, I think Canelo really like it's one thing throwing the pebble in the pond. Like, I think he threw like a rock, man. Like,
a pebble. He threw he carved out Mount Rushmore and dumped it in there.
Yo, man, it's crazy, man. And again, man, I think this is really gonna be the early stages, and I was saying this this week in the chats, man. Like, I think we're just living in a period right now where we're seeing a lot of changes. I mean, look at what we've already experienced in the last like 2 months, man. HBO's out of here. Showtime and Fox signed these huge $60 million deals. ESPN re-ups to like 2025.
You wait till that Disney app come next year. Remember with Bob Evans?
Yeah, man.
What he was trying to do a couple fights ago. What fight was that we was watching on that stupid app?
The ESPN Plus app with the Jeff Horn and
what fight was that? I was Horn. Now, when the ESPN app comes out, I mean the Disney app comes out, and let's just say they got fights on there, like that's the thing you got to pay attention to. I want people to understand is that the zone, like you said, I didn't even know what the zone was until you. I thought you was talking about the ESPN zone. The zone? What is that? I'm thinking that's some app like for ESPN. Yeah. The thing about what Eddie Hearn is doing, the thing of you can't be afraid to evolve. You know what I mean? To take risks. When you're doing this type of stuff. And Eddie Hearn realizes that there's one big star in boxing over there, and that's Canelo. Remember we talked about this earlier? Yeah. There's only one guy in boxing outside of Floyd and Pacquiao who's pretty much retired, even though they're still fighting. It's one guy that can generate millions of views, and that's Canelo. So what Eddie Hearn probably did was he sat with De La Hoya and probably had a sheet of names. Like, can you guys promise me that we're going to get at least 3 of these names? It might have been about 10 guys they put on the list. Like, can you promise me if we can get a promise? Because I'm sure they got loopholes in this. Now we won't know the loopholes in the contract. You know what I mean? The extended, the I'm drawing a blank here. The incentives in the contract.
Incentives, yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's incentive. We won't know them, but I'm sure nobody's giving that type of money without insurance that a Triple G fights is in there. It's one. You know what I mean? For certain, Triple G was named. I can't brought up because they know that that's going to do big business. They probably was like, we'll wait out a year, but that's a fight that we definitely need to put in here. And some other names probably. But the fact that they decided to do this is going to change a lot of things. Like you brought up Tank and Gervonta Davis earlier. No, we're only one day into this contract. And granted, it still has to work. Like, the stuff got to work.
Yeah.
But like, because it could pretty much flop, and we could be looking back on this like, that they was crazy for doing it. But for the most part, they understand where boxing's going. And they know that American people here want to see those fights. We don't have Sky. What's the network? Sky Network over there?
Sky Sports.
Sky Sport. We don't have Sky Sports. So they figured out a way like, okay, we're gonna tap into the noun and get a streaming service basically and charge a small amount of money, and then a pay-per-views if they are there's going to be pay-per-views on there.
I mean, the thing is, I think the pay-per-view from what Eddie Hearn was talking about. Now let's also put this out here, okay? As it relates to Canelo, because some people might get confused. Oscar went directly to DAZN. This acquisition has zero to do with Eddie Hearn, though Eddie Hearn is the U.S.
I got you. Right.
Oscar, and look, he was able to do that because I mean, look at the guy he has, and they worked out the deal directly through DAZN or with DAZN. So that's a monster deal, and Zoe Knights for saying Lomachenko's contract is up in 6 months, and he can share the same management team as Usyk, who is at DAZN. Ooh. Good luck with that with Bob, though.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be that easy.
Yeah. Only because Bob, up to this point, has given Lomachenko the fights he's asked for. Now, hear this, though, man. Eddie Hearn's got a good relationship with Mikey, so
I was going to say. Well, wait a second. When is Lomachenko contract up?
This guy Zoe Knight is saying it's up in 6 months.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, something. Listen,
a lot of craziness about to happen this year, man.
Money talks. Like, listen,
and they got it. And this Canelo deal proves what Eddie Hearn was saying wasn't like bullshit, man. Like, it was like for real.
That's why I brought up the total thing. Remember listen, when he said that, he didn't just say it just because he liked the Charlo. He was just like, listen, we got something we're working on here. Once we make, and who are the Charlos chasing right now?
Well, they're chasing. Well, one of them chasing.
Say no more.
Well, were you talking about fighters? You mean?
Yeah, I'm saying that who are the Charlos chasing?
Oh yeah, man, they want that Canelo money, man. Like,
there you go. So that's why I was saying when they did this deal, that was all in the play. Like I'm sure they said we're going to do the fights. Once we do this, everybody's going to follow in pursuit, just like everybody was running around chasing Floyd before Floyd, De La Hoya. Yeah. It's just a different way of doing it now.
Now, listen, man. This whole PBC deal with Fox and with Showtime, it's 3 years, man. Canelo's deals were 5. You know what I mean? So, it could be a deal, man, that after, their deal is up with Fox and they see that Canelo's still, killing it over there. Let me say this. Jamal Charlo, who's the calmer of the two, and the more, like he seems. I mean, he talks, but he seems like the more level-headed one. He said something that really struck me, man. It was, I forgot when it was like a few months back, but they were asking him like what he thought, but somebody asked him about not having a promoter. He's like, you know what, man, like it works out for me right now, but I know at some point I'm gonna need a promoter, and I'm just looking at how everything's shaking up. And look, at one point, the PBC was looked at like, remember a couple years ago when they had all these dates and everyone's like, oh man, the PBC is gonna take over boxing, da da da. Skip 5 years, man, and it's like there's obviously still the big players, but it's the entire the entire table has, or the landscape has shifted, man. I mean, I think we're already past that, man. Like we're already past that. It's right at this point, man. I mean, is the zone really going to be the go-to place? How's Fox going to now handle the PBC fights? Are they going to demand the Charlos and Spence and the bigger fights on their network? ESPN, they got their whole deal, and then with Bud, and man, we're in a crazy time, man. I mean, I've been saying it for like the whole week, man, but we're in like a real crazy time right now.
Remember, going to TV was considered a demotion. I'm talking about the movie business.
Oh yeah, when you talk about actors, right? When you started doing TV,
actors, right? Remember that?
Yeah. You started doing shows.
Where's all the actors at now? I'm talking about big time. We're not talking about just. Remember, it used to be a joke like fell actors. They go on like TNT or
yeah.
Those shows that come on like TNT and USA. You can't go on TV or Netflix or any Amazon without seeing some big time Hollywood actor either in an original movie, because that's what they call it now. Yeah. Netflix original, Amazon who Amazon, by the way, have their own movie studio, by the way.
Right, exactly.
So things evolve, man, and things change, and when it takes one or two people to do something first, and then it just open up. Like I said, this whole thing could flop, it could blow up, but the way streaming is going, streaming is the one thing for certain, streaming is here to stay. That's not going
anywhere. Just like with MP3 downloads, man, when that happened, it was a wrap. it was over.
They used to call streaming millennial cable, basically. It was like it was the millennial version of cable. But guess what else also millennials started? Facebook, right? Facebook was started by college kids to keeping. Who's on Facebook now? Aunts, uncles, grandparents. Like I was telling my pop, right? My pop was like, he needs some new shows to watch, but he watches like regular. I'm like, Pop, do you know how much good stuff is on Netflix? Just Netflix alone. They have Netflix. So he calls me all hyped, like, yo, did you see this show? I said, yo, I've been telling you to watch Netflix.
I mean, but look at the shows that they're producing right now, man, and the shows, and there's people that are canceling their cable and just living off of Netflix. And to your point, man, in 2018, man, you can figure out pretty easy how to find shows and find out, I mean, it's just so easily accessible these days, man. And I think every year people are just getting hip to like where it is. I mean, look, I have 3 friends of mine that live off of YouTube Live and Hulu Live. They pay 30, 40, I think it's like 30, 40 a month. And they basically get everything you have on cable TV. So like, let's say you pay 35, 40 a month, and then you pay for like a DAZN, which is, what, $10, and then you have excuse me, like Showtime, which is like, I think like 12 or 13. And then if you have ESPN on Hulu or YouTube Live, man, you got all your corners covered at that point. You know what I mean? And I that's just where everything's going, man. I think by 2021, you know how like we all have HD TVs, and you know when you see on pay-per-view it says standard definition 65 and HD 75. That's such a scam because like they don't like who has a standard TV anymore, man? You know, like you can get an HD TV for damn near like $50 these days. So I just think the promoters and being that they've had these relationships with the cable networks, it's like working in an office, and it's like you don't work for the office per se, but like you have clients there, and you're starting to see the company fold, and little by little, you're like, oh, all right, yeah, I'm gonna go to lunch. We're gonna have a lunch meeting real quick, and then little by little, you start to see everybody leave, and it's like you look at what happened to HBO. And how different is that from what Bob Arum did last year? he jumped off the ship, man. He just saw what was going on, and it's because of the relationships he had. And I think, and I'll pass it to you as far, and we'll segue into the final topic tonight as far as Pacquiao Broner, but it's do not mistake yourselves and think that Al Heyman making this deal with Fox didn't have to do with the fact that he needs to get these guys on, much more or have them, in front of more eyes than what Showtime has been able to provide. Though you got to give Showtime their shout as far as what they've done as it relates to just putting on good fights, man. But
I think.
Go ahead.
No, real quick, what I was saying, I think what Al Heyman goal was, like, to your point, the notoriety, and he wants to put boxing back to what we talked about, like the wild world of sports, Tuesday night fights, and he wants to make it more like the NFL, the NBA pregame shows, postgame shows. And remember a couple of the fights that we watched, it was like almost like watching a football game. Remember they had like studio analysts and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I mean it's kind of it's crazy because we're all witnessing this, and a lot of it too is gonna be trial and error, man. There's gonna be some things that like are not gonna work, but I think overall, and we'll talk about the announcement we kind of already knew about, but I guess it's official as far as Pacquiao and Broner. But yeah, this 2019 in general is going to be really that. When we talked a couple of years ago where we were saying like at some point, man, there's gonna be a year where we're gonna see the full transition of the new generation. But I don't think any of us ever expected the whole transition to also include what we've been talking about this whole night, is just the platforms, man. It's crazy. It's really it's fascinating, man, because it's almost like a rat race now. Everybody's trying to get in where they fit in, and every network now is trying to like say, oh well, we got this, we could give you this. Oh, we could give you this, which also proves that boxing is not dead, man. At all. But again, so I'll hand it to you, man. So before we wrap it up tonight, we got the official announcement.
Yeah.
Manny Pacquiao, and I don't know if we're gonna get the Senator Pacquiao or Itchy the Killer, as ROD would term, against Adrian Broner either January 12th or January 19th, and it's very likely going to be happening in Las Vegas, man. So give me your thoughts on this whole situation.
Man, speaking of, Halloween, which debut tomorrow.
Yeah, and no spoilers, please, man. I'm going Friday.
Well, Adrian Broner is running around like Michael Myers, basically. Like, he just won't die. He won't go. I mean, obviously, we don't want him to die, literally. But listen.
That's a great film.
He won't go away. But you always say, when they need a quick hit, quick money. He's almost like the dude you throw on the hook of a record. Like if it's a trash record, you put somebody on the hook to help the sell. That's all this really is. This is a hook party song. You know, it's like a one-hit wonder type of situation. Dress rehearsal for Floyd Mayweather. That's all this fight is. Like, you know, like basically, once again, Floyd comes through for Broner indirectly, kind of way. You know what I mean? Because it all this all circles back to Floyd because I don't know who Floyd is fighting for his tune-up, but Pacquiao needs this tune-up, needs to get his name back in the mix again. Not that he needs it, because he's Pacquiao. He's Manny Pacquiao. But it's just funny, like, out of all the people, it ain't needed, let's keep it 100. It had to be somebody that got a name, but somewhat safe. You know what I mean? And I know some people, like, a lot of people was hitting me up. People that I respect their opinions about boxing, but I have to respectfully disagree on their assessment of this Broner and Pacquiao situation because I didn't think Broner could beat Pacquiao at any point of his career. When he was considered to be whatever, you know, when he was in the prime of his career, post Madonna. Now Pacquiao's a shell of himself as well, but he's still got enough talent, you know, enough championships under his belt to knock Broner out or just beat him. You know what I mean? I just think that, you know, this is a fight. Broner's is being served up, and he knows it. He being served up to Pacquiao. It's an expensive serve up.
Yeah.
It's an expensive, because look, Broner's gonna make decent money out of this, but this is a farewell gift from Al Heyman to Broner for being a thorn in their side. You know what I mean? But one thing they know for certain, though, you know, Broner, you're not going to lose no money by putting him as the B side of the. He's already started already.
Yeah,
he's selling the fight already.
Ready to put him a tweet today.
And that's what I just want people to understand, because some people mad. Like, listen, in a perfect world, you're right. He doesn't deserve the fight. Like Sean Porter deserved the fight.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Right. But this is how crazy the business of boxing works. I want people to think about this. I said back to you. Broner lost to every good fighter he ever fought. All of them. Like, I'm talking about when he moved up in weight. Even Paulie Malignaggi was served up to him. He barely beat him. You know what I'm saying? So then you get a guy like Porter, who pretty much did everything right, other than this Earl Spence situation. He fought Keith Thurman. He went overseas to fight Kell Brook.
Right.
He fought Danny Garcia pretty much in Danny's hometown. He's been a loyal soldier. And now he's talking about fighting somebody like Andre Berto. And although Floyd and Pacquiao are technically retired, if anybody had to, I don't care, from 160 on down, if they can make weight, they would fight either one of these guys, because that's the only two guys that's left that can guarantee you anywhere from $5 to $10 million. So I know people are upset, but Broner, unfortunately, he sells these fights and he knows how to. He's not crazy enough where Broner understands, like, okay, in order for me to stay relevant, in order for them to keep calling me, I got to continue to do crazy, outlandish stuff. Here we are. He gets the Pacquiao fight.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, and that's why it shouldn't be a surprise that, you know, this is the fight, because I mean, look, Broner is gonna sell this with Pacquiao just kind of sitting there, almost like what Floyd did with McGregor. He kind of let McGregor sell the fight. When you think of the lead up, like, who was the one that was really like mouthing off the entire time? It was McGregor, you know. So I think Pacquiao takes the same approach. And look, he doesn't talk anyway, as far as, like, you know, trying to build anything, but, you know, Pacquiao's just gonna sit there, man. Let Broner promote it, and we all of us collectively, well, most of us collectively believe, see what's right. You know, we see the writing on the wall, but yeah, this is all leading to Floyd. But yo, you really think Floyd's gonna fight I'm almost like thinking he might fight Pacquiao right away, like in May. Like he'd say, "Hey, look, man, I've been training, like I'm ready to go." Or do you think he does take a tune-up?
I I don't know, man. It depends. He gotta take a tune. The only why I said that is because he hasn't fought what since it will be almost 2 years since he didn't fight. And I don't care how talented Floyd is, that's a long time to just get back in the ring and not have no legitimate rounds under your belt. The question is,
and I don't want to hear about this Khabib and fighting another
no,
MMA
that's
fighter
just,
again. Like
that's just,
we need
yeah,
to stop that, please.
yeah. No, that's just. I'm. That I think that's just talk. Like that's just.
I want to hope so too.
Yeah, I think that's just. And you can even tell about Floyd response. Floyd is locked in on this Pacquiao fight. I think he look at this as a more easier fight to be made. He's in total control of the situation. I mean, don't his handprints is all over the house.
Like, he orchestrated that thing, man. Like
he got listen. Pacquiao, you can kind of say he looked out for Pacquiao a little bit.
Absolutely.
I mean, Pacquiao gonna make a lot of money on the way out the door.
He's gonna get, you know, the whole IRS is gonna, you know, that whole situation is gonna get taken care of. He's gonna pocket. He'll probably, when you, even though, all right, like even though the second fight won't collectively make more than the first fight, Pacquiao might end up making more than what he did in the first fight because of like all the money he owed, you know?
I was going to say, any breakdown, he don't have to give. Remember, he not with Top Rank, so he don't have that breakdown.
Right, man. Yep.
Well, it's happening. People going to be mad, but it's happening.
It's happening, yeah.
Everybody's going to watch it.
Exactly. All of us are going to watch it, man. Everybody, look, what do we say about
a little bit?
What happened?
I said it'll be entertaining for a couple rounds, for a few rounds.
And then you're gonna get taken back to the hot tub time machine to 2015. Same fight, you know. I mean, I think again, man, people buy into the spectacle. And Mayweather Pacquiao, while at one point they were great fighters in their primes and things as such, man, like. It's a show at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the PGA Senior Tour. You know, it's the last bit of change. But again, man, we all watch it, man, because we're suckers for a spectacle, man. We all are. And the proof of that was last August when all of us watched Floyd and Conor, man. We all watched it.
I'm guilty because I said I wasn't watching it.
And you watched it.
The whole thing. I went to somebody's house to watch it on top of it.
People, the thing too is people like to be a part of an event, and I think
what else do we got to do? Well, I mean, what else do we really got to do? You know what I mean?
And that's why I say when people say, "Oh, I'm not gonna watch it," I'll wait. I go, "You guys are full of," I mean, pardon my French, but you guys are full of shit, man. All of you watch that fight as it's happening, man, because people like to be part of an event. I don't care if you're like the most hardcore fan or you're just a casual, like everybody likes to be in that same event, man. And it's because, boxing is just that. A big boxing event is a spectacle. It really is, man. And if you you guys went to Kodo Judah, which was ridiculous, right? I mean, that was like we said one of the most rabid crowds like you've ever been a part of, right? Like
one of the most entertaining, like far as like it was like a party,
right? And this was Cotto in his heyday, like
and his prime on the Puerto Rican Day parade, mind you.
And there's a story about that we won't discuss on the show, man, as far as that. Any case, man. Yeah. We're just heading into a crazy 2019, man. And I mean, I think we kind of covered all the time. Yeah, we covered pretty much everything, man. I think, look, the big story, Canelo signing to DAZN. you know, I'm reading some of the chats. You know, some people saying like the zone's gonna fail. Also, shout out to my cousin Saul Blanco, man. We're gonna have him on the show too, man. I'll get into him in a couple of shows as far as how he's in the boxing world, but we'll definitely have him on soon, man. But yeah, I mean, people are kind of torn, you know. And I think naturally we're all kind of just waiting to see how this is all gonna unfold. But I mean, we're all used to, you know, we're the HBO era, man. We're the HBO Showtime babies, you know. So all of this is rather new to us, man. Kind of like our parents when you know they stopped seeing boxing on network TV and they're like, HBO, they're gonna have that fight on HBO or Showtime,
right,
you know?
Right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
And but guess what? Our folks eventually all got it. You know, we all eventually, you know, we started just watching boxing.
I want to speak to the people outside of sports that watch I just want to hear from people that go on regular TV and watch regular. Or is that still a thing? I really don't watch regular TV at all. Like I only watch sports on regular TV.
Well, me either, but yo, it's fun. One of my friends, man, he brought up a really interesting point to me where he says he DVRs games and just fast forwards through like to see certain things and then he's done. I'm like, wow, it's like
ain't that
we're like in that era now, right? But yo,
it's crazy, right?
It is.
No, I know people. I got a homie like that with football. He don't watch games. He just go through
the highlights, right?
Points, the high points.
And look, man, like I ain't gonna front, man. There's weeks. I mean, I'm still watching the NFL, you know, but there's weeks that like I'm not up to everything. But guess what? This little thing right here keeps me up to date. Oh, this other thing too called Instagram, you know, and YouTube. You know?
Yeah, my buddy. No, it's funny. Real quick before we go, my man, he got this joke, right? He says, "I'd be like, you going to the concert?" He always say, "Why would I go to spend hundreds of dollars on a concert, and all I got to do is watch Instagram Live and watch people film the whole thing?" Ain't that crazy?
Hey, yo, that's true. That's true. I mean, look, granted, you want to be there to experience it, but look, as far as
he was making a joke.
No, but yeah, but guess what? Like there is some seriousness to it, though. There really is, man. Because think about us, man. Like our situation, you know, we got families and things as such, man, and we ain't prowling around like how we were, like in our you know way back in the day and everything. But it's like that's how with technology, people are able to just have access to media that we didn't even have 10 years ago, man. Like you really think about it, man. Yo, we it's yeah, my cousin. See, I watch TV every single day. Yo, that's our fans. Yo.
Hey, listen. I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking people that watch it. I'm just saying, like with streaming. Remember, I told you guys I got enough TV, like I could be locked in this house like I'm in a bunker for the next 2 years. And I seriously, and I still wouldn't watch everything on like between the streaming services without touching the TV unless it's for ESPN or sports. There's nothing I need to watch on there.
Yeah, man. It's technology is just it's every year something new, man. You know, it's almost like to the point where we can't keep up anymore, man. But I mean, as far as you know, the underlying point with streaming and things of that nature. Look, I don't think anybody's gonna jump on board right away, but
it just takes time. Definitely,
it takes time. But
it may flop. We don't know. Like whoever said that on the board, it could flop.
It might. You know, but at least on the surface, this deal with Canelo is obviously a huge deal. Where now you have like a major focal point to what is a new service. But, you know, again, I make the point of HBO, man. Like, Ray Leonard fought on HBO, and when nobody knew where HBO really was, man, and then, you know, then it became the standard. So we just have to see how all this kind of plays out, man. But that is pretty much our show, man. Let me first off say, I have to say shout out to all of our Facebook fans. We hit the 10K followers this past week. So we appreciate all the follows, man. Shout out to the homie Train. Shout out to ROD who couldn't make it tonight. And yo, man, let us know what you think about this whole situation as far as the streaming world is concerned, man. I mean, look, I think this is where just TV is headed, man. I mean, you can't get away from it, you know. But we'll be back next week. We got the Demetrius Andrade fight on DAZN. You know, let me see. He's fighting. Well, the whole Billy Joe Saunders situation. So he's fighting Walter Kondundankwa. I've never seen this dude fight before. He's fighting out of Africa, and I think this is his first fight in the United States as well. But you know, we'll see if Demetrius Andrade wins his. Is this his first world title? I could be mistaken, but I believe this might be. No, wasn't he? I think he was WBO light middle. No, he was a WBO light middleweight champion. So, you know, he would officially have a middleweight title to his, you know, to his career thus far, man. So we'll be back next week. We appreciate all the follows, man. Follow us on iTunes at just look up GYGB podcast. Again, appreciate all the follows on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram at Guard Your Grill Boxing, and on Facebook, facebook.com/GYG Boxing, man. So we'll be back next week. Salute. We out of here. Peace.